Hi all, good morning. Today we are going to discuss about Log4j. Why Log4j2? Default changes and dependencies to enable Log4j2. Configuration are how we uh, configuration are Log4j2 XML file, appenders, and rolling file. Okay, today we are going to see what are all these. Okay, first thing, why Log4j2? Okay, uh, we will discuss about this. Why Log4j2? Log4j2 is used to store the logs in multiple places. Okay, in Spring Boot application, when you initialize your Spring Boot application, and if you add the dependency Spring Web, by default Spring Web has Spring Boot starter logging. Okay, it will display logs in console. Okay, we can see logs in console. Then why we need Log4j2? If we have if we are unable to watch the logs in the console, why we need log4j2? Okay, this log4j2 is used to store the logs in multiple places. Suppose if you are facing exception from 1 week, or if you want to see the logs of previous days, or if you want to store your logs in somewhere to share it to someone, okay, to verify the logs, in those scenarios you have to store your logs in a particular storage file. So this log4j2 is used to store your logs in different places, like you can print in console, you can store these in a file, or you can store these in a databases. Like this you can store your application logs in different places. That's why we need log4j2. Also it is uh, efficient and fast performance. Log4j2 is more efficient and fast performance. Okay, that's why we need Log4j2. Then default changes and dependencies to enable Log4j2. Okay, we will see what are the dependencies needed to enable this Log4j2. Okay, to enable this Log4j2, we need to add. If you go to Maven repository, if you search log4j2, it will render Spring Boot starter log4j2. If you just click on this and go to any stable version, I'm going to 3.4.3. Here we need this dependency to enable this log4j2. Add this dependency uh, in your pom.xml file. Okay, in pom.xml file, just add this dependency. This dependency is enough to enable log4j2, and also to disable default. Okay, to disable default logging file that printing in the console, and access to this file. To enable access to this log4j2 by the Spring, we have to exclude this starter logging. Okay, we have to exclude this starter logging from Spring Starter Web. To exclude this starter logging, we need to add exclusions and then exclusion. Okay, I hope you understand this. The second point is done. Okay, default changes are we need to exclude the Spring Boot starter logging and add the dependencies Spring Boot starter enable for log4j to enable this log4j2. Then configuration or log4j2 XML file. Then we have to create a in resources. If you go to main Java resources, we have to we have to create one XML file. If you right click on the resources, and if you click on new and file, by this you can create log4j2.xml. Okay, after creating log4j2 XML, you need to configure, uh, you, you need to do some configuration to perform this activity. It looks complex, but it is very, I will explain. Okay, see, first line, first line we are mentioning it is XML file and version 1.0 and encoding UTF-8. Then second line, I'm I made configuration status as debug. We have different statuses like off, error, debug. Then we have warn, trace. Like that, we have uh, different statuses. For each status, there is a different purpose. Suppose if we mention off here, it doesn't print any logs. Okay, then if you enable warn or error, it will show error related logs and warnings from this uh, while configuring while configuring this log file. If we enable status as a debug or trace, it will show all internal messages while configuring this file. Okay, that's about configuration. Second line is done. Then we need to add the appenders. Okay, we need to add the appenders. We can add two appenders. One is console and one is file. You can add anything you want. Okay, here our requirement is to store the logs, right? So we need to add the file file here. If you want to add the console, you can add the console by uncommenting this. You cannot like this. Okay. Third is we need to add the appenders. Why we need appenders? Appenders tells that where do you want to append your logs, where you want to store your logs. Okay, where you want to print your logs. That's the purpose of appenders. Here our requirement is to store in the log file, right? That's why uh, I created one tag rolling file. Then I gave one name for this rolling file. uh, I, I gave a name as demo logs appender. And then in which path, okay, in which folder or in which path I need to store the logs. Just to give the path here. Okay, here we gave double slashes to avoid backslash. Okay, to avoid a single backslash. By default, single backslash treated in a different way. That's why to uh, to make this consider as a backslash, we are using double backslash. Okay, then we I used dynamic folder here. Okay, uh, why I mentioned dollar date, you may have this doubt why I mentioned dollar date year month td. Here I mentioned because for each day I want to create a new folder for my log. Okay, suppose for yesterday, this should be stored like in the 2025 folder in the 19th date for the 19th for the month July for the month 19th folder. I'm creating this app log. For tomorrow, suppose for 21, it will store like for 2020 in 2025 folder in July folder in the date 21 my app.log file will create. So we are organizing our app.log file for each day. Okay, then file pattern. Here file pattern same. I'm giving name for my file like just copy paste this entire here and after app just add the year month date. It will create a log file name like app slash, it's not a slash. Okay, um, it will create like app 2025 720. Okay, dot log dot zz. Here zz means for today it will create a log file name like just app. After midnight, after 12, the date will change, right? So it will compress the file with by adding the year month day for the particular file. Okay, so that we can access previous files with the year month date. Then it is that's the file name and file pattern about rolling file. Then we are adding pattern layout. Okay, we are adding particular pattern how we need to print our logs. Okay, here percentage d means I'm adding date. Okay, I'm adding date while printing the logs. In suppose assume it is a line. Okay, it is a single line. In the line, the first I need date, then the time, then here percentage d means a thread name. Suppose if main is running, it will give like main. Then I enable level. Level means it will give info, debug. We discussed five different levels, right? Information, warning, error, debug, trace, like that. We are adding name of the level. Then percentage logger means name of the class. Okay, in which class it is executing. Then it is maximum characters are 36. Then percentage MSG means message we are printing. Then percentage n means new line. That's it. In a single line we are writing in a format. That is about pattern layout. You can write pattern layout in simple like this. It is a basic way pattern layout. Next pattern, it is a pattern. Okay, it is a shorthand form. Then we are adding policies. Okay, policies means it's like a for each day. Interval means one. It's like for each day and for each day create one file. Okay, every day create a new file. Okay, that is about interval. Then with the help of loggers root, I'm connecting this file. Okay, I'm connecting this file and I'm saying that connect to this file and print the logs. Okay, and store the logs. Just that's about the config file. We are just adding configuration status, then we are adding appenders, then loggers. That's it. That's about configuration file. Okay, and policies. Okay, that's about configuration file. Here I created uh, this. If folder is not this folder, need to create a folder up to here, and it will dynamically give an create a folder with the dates. Then it will create a file with the app. Okay, I have this folder here in my C drive, and just ignore about this. Okay, demo logs, C colon spring boot. In the demo logs I have this path. Okay, here we can delete this file. Now for for simple purpose, I created one controller layer. Okay, I'm using one get mapping. Is to this get When you call this get mapping, it just logs the information. Okay, information. Hi, I'm a controller layer. I'm printing one error. I'm printing one warning message. Okay, then to call these methods. Okay, here info error warn are methods. This logger is a object. Okay, to call this method, we need to create an object for the logger class. Okay, for logger equal to log manager. Okay, log manager is from Apache. Log manager and the logger is from Apache. Log manager dot get logger for this class. Okay, for in the same service, in the same service layer, in service layer, I'm sorry. Uh, in service layer, I'm creating one logger and I'm printing the logging information. Okay, we will see how this works. Okay, I'm running the application. See, you now, okay, these are the logs. Okay, and these are the configuration logs. Okay, it is these are the configuration logs. Then we we cannot see like started Tomcat application in particular port. We cannot see in console now because I am writing logs in the log file. Okay, if you go to the Spring Boot demo logs, Okay, see, Spring Boot demo logs, it created folder with the year, then month, then date. It created app.log file. Okay, if you go to this log file, see, Tomcat started and put 8081. I given port as 8081. If you run the get mapping here, http colon 8081 demo logs forward slash. See, I just returning the message successful. If you see the log file, okay, it will not update. If it is a notepad plus, it will automatically update. Okay, I reopen this. See, we got a logs like with information. Hi, I'm from a control error with error with a warning. Okay, here see, suppose it is a line. I'm adding date. I'm adding thread. Then I'm logging level. I'm adding class here. Okay, and I'm printing message, and after each line I'm getting into new line. That's how this slf sorry log4j2 works. Okay, I hope you understood this entire this entire topic. Okay, why log4j2 default changes and dependencies to enable log4j2 configuration, then appenders. You can add console or a file or databases if you want. Then rolling file means you are storing logs in a file and you can dynamically pass the values with the date, month, year. Okay, that is about log4j2. Thank you all.